Yes, now ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Thomas Rants YouTube channel. I said it was coming, it came, it's here, we have it. We've done Misfits 001 ranking, the X Series ranking where we ranked all 8 fights. We did Misfits 02 where we ranked all the fights. Welcome to Misfits X Series 03 where we rank all the fights. There's 7 fights, so from 7 to number 1, we give them a rating, we give them a reason. First one out, at number 7. Bottom of the list. It was the first fight out, so not too shabby. Minicon versus Nick Joseph, Nick Paddywhack, whatever you want to call him. Apparently he was on Wild and Allison. No clue who he is. I thought he looked like Phantom. Not back then though, because Phantom wasn't really much of a thing back then. I don't know. Was he? I don't know. November 2022. God knows. I mean, it was just quite an awful fight to watch, to be honest. They were both very heavy, obviously, but like they gassed quite quick. I mean, Nick Joseph, like he was more aggressive. He tried to throw punches a lot better than Minicon did. Problem was he was just not prepared properly. He gassed himself out, and he kept spitting like his gum shield out. He kept just sitting down on the floor. He kept trying to put all his weight on Minicon because he had no energy left. And the referee was telling him off. Referee's telling him stop. And he just wouldn't. He just wasn't fit to be in there. And Minicon could at least walk forward and throw a punch as bad as those punches were. So I mean, I give the fight a 3 out of 10. But the fight was literally like, it was not it really. It was just not it. Coming in at number 6 though. A short notice fight, a fight that I remember because I remember all of them. I remember watching them. It literally came out like 2 days before that this fight was going to happen, and it is FaZe Temper coming off of this getting knocked out by Slim, and he was taking on Overt Flow, who I believe we saw on like the first Joella card or something like that, and he got like body shot stopped by FaZe Sensei. And we're expecting, okay, so we've seen these guys before, maybe a bit more of a technical match, not as technical, but a bit more experience in the match. You know what I mean? And literally within about 10 seconds, FaZe Temper with the first punch of the fight, he threw, obviously southpaw, so he threw 1-2 with his right hand first. This is my right hand. I know, like, I'm backwards. So for your sake, right hand. He threw the right hand first, and then the left, and the left just caught him. If you're watching the replay, it didn't look like it hurt. It didn't look like he should have went down, but on the replay it hit him. His whole head went woo, and he went flat on his back, and he couldn't make it up in the count of 10. I mean, he seemed pretty fine. It seemed like he went in there for a paycheck, and once he was down, he went, yeah, we'll leave it at that. So it was pretty, like, there was nothing to it. Like, obviously, like, it's not a fight. It wasn't a fight. There's nothing to be, like, entertained by, because that is literally 5 seconds of entertainment. But it was clean. It was clean, and it was a knockout, and it was a better performance than the other fight. You know, the other fight went, like, 3-4 rounds, and this went 20 seconds. I gave it a 4 out of 10 because but it's better than Minicon and Nick Joseph level, because both, like, even though Overt Flow didn't throw anything, he was still better technically than both of them. So 4 out of 10 for that one. Coming in at number 5, we have the co-main event, which I was surprised this was the co-main event, but Josh Bruckner, who we'd seen and heard of before, apparently he's done MMA fights, apparently he was on the KSI Logan 2 undercard. He was taking on Chase Demore, who in the build-up looked very big, and we're like, oh, could be a problem. But Chase Demore, this is when he cemented himself as, oh my fucking god, get off of Misfits, and he never did. He'd always come forward with his head back here, fighting on that gum shield, because he was scared to take a punch, and he'd throw like, he'd pull those shots. He was terrified. He didn't want to be in there, and it was quite embarrassing to watch, to be honest, and it made it harder for Josh Bruckner, because Josh Bruckner's not bad. And Josh Bruckner was hitting proper, like, straight punches, coming around, hitting the body up top. He was doing all of that. Just Chase Demore not wanting to fight made it a lot harder for Josh Bruckner, and a lot more frustrating for him. I mean, referee, after I think about 2nd or 3rd round, corner called it in and said, nah, he ain't fighting. And Josh Bruckner got the win off of corner stoppage, but it was just hard to watch, really. But I mean, Josh Bruckner was good to watch because he had decent combinations, he had decent movement, but Chase Demore was just ruining everything. So I gave that fight a 4 out of 10. 4 out of 10. I thought that was fair rating, you know what I mean? Because Josh Bruckner did good, you know what I mean? I thought he kind of probably could have put him down, but I guess Chase was significantly, well, not significantly, but quite bigger than him. So it was probably a bit harder to put him down, especially when he's running from you. You know what I mean? Coming in at number 4, we have King Kenny versus DK Money. Now, obviously, when this fight was announced, I knew it was an easy fight. I knew DK Money had had the fight with Nick Ireland before, and he lost. But that was both their first fights. Then he went to fight Ryan Taylor, got headbutted and dived on the floor. I'm not saying, obviously, like, it was wrong that he got headbutted, right? But, like, he could have just went, that's a blatant headbutt to disqualify him. He didn't need to go, and fall on the floor. Like, he was going to get in trouble for the headbutt regardless. It was a blatant headbutt. I mean, yeah, Kenny just destroyed him, though, didn't he? I thought the fall looked a bit, I don't know, because he got hit on the right side. And then it took a second, and then he fell to the left. And it just, like, those things can happen, but it just seemed very... But Kenny destroyed him. Great performance from Kenny. It was a knockout, you know. You can't knock a knockout. So I gave the fight 5 out of 10. Nothing spectacular, but a decent watch. If it was on a card, I would not complain that fight was on a card every time. Coming in at number 3, we have Brandon Buckingham versus Ice Poseidon. Obviously, we had no clue what to expect from either of these men. And the fight just kind of became Brandon was prepared, Ice wasn't. Brandon sticking jabs in his face, hitting him with 1-2s, chasing him down the ring. And the way that he hurt Ice Poseidon and then chased him around the ring with those flying right hands, it just brought some excitement to it. It brought a bit of excitement. So it was a decent stoppage, decent fight to watch. And it's a shame I haven't got Brandon Buckingham back since then, but I'm hoping we will. Because he called out Sneeko and the fight never happened. He called out some other people and those fights haven't happened. So get Brandon Buckingham back in it. But I gave that fight 5 out of 10 because, you know, Ice wasn't giving anything back. It was just Brandon performing. Coming in at number 2. Now, 2 and 1 might surprise you. Coming in at number 2 is the main event. Dina Gray versus Waleed Sharks 1. Now, obviously, this wasn't originally meant to be the main event. The original main event was meant to be Hasim Ratman Jr. versus Vitor Belfort. But Vitor Belfort had COVID and couldn't fight. So... because Hasim was fighting a short notice opponent, I thought they'd put Dean and Waleed in the main event. I mean, what a good choice. Because, I mean, short up and short out. I mean, Dina Gray had one fight before, and he was getting promoted by Happy Punch, and he was making this come up. Waleed had done, like, other boxing things. He'd won Golden Gloves. He'd fought Adam Sala and basically beat him. You know, he'd done all that. And then this fight, so you're thinking, oh, it's very hard. At the time, I was rooting for Dina Gray because I had no clue who Waleed was. And yeah, I mean, both very technical. I mean, Dean was focused on his pull right hand, and Waleed was focused on coming around with the hooks. And they were both, it was definitely a chess match. Both were trying to figure each other out. They were both moving at the same time. But I felt Waleed obviously had a lot more experience in there, and he was landing Dean with the best shots. But Dean was frustrating Waleed because obviously Dean recognised that he had more experience. Dean recognised that he was slightly better, and Dean was playing with him. Dean would, when they'd clinch, Dean would pick him up. Dean would keep clinching him, wrestling him to the floor. Dean was being dirty. He was trying to frustrate Waleed and put him off his game so Dean could catch him, and it was working. It was working. It was going. It was a very 50-50 fight. Then towards the end of the first or second round, Waleed hit him with the right hand. Dean not slipped, but lost his footing, and his gloves touched the floor. Obviously, that should be scored a knockdown, but the referee said he saw it as a slip. Anyway, coming in the second round, Waleed hit a right hand, landed there, and came up with a clean left hook that dropped Dean for the first time. Everyone was shocked. It was great knockdown, by the way. But Dean got up, he was ready to fight and whatever. He got knocked down another time in that round. And then coming into the third round, after Dean had already been hurt, just out of nowhere, that infamous bang, that it didn't even come high. It was like here, and there's just the snap when he moved his arm, where the fist connected with his face, and oh, beautiful shot. And Waleed got up. He was up by the count of 8, but he turned his back to the referee, and the referee called it off. So Dean got the win after being dropped twice, should have been 3 times, and then come back and got the knockout win. Controversial decision, but it built for a massive feud, didn't it? It was a great fight. It was a really great fight. But the simple fact that it was like the chess match, and then Dean was getting dropped, then Wally got knocked out, Waleed was the more experienced one, but Dean was being more entertaining, and it was very, very good to watch. I gave it a 7 out of 10. Now, you're probably thinking, why wasn't that number 1? Because number 1 is actually the Hasim Ratman Jr. fight with his late notice opponent, short notice opponent, sorry, Greg Hardy. Now let's first of all let's break this down. Hasim Ratman Jr., son of a pro legend, but he was also a pro boxer himself. He was going to step in for Tom Fury against Jake Paul. Fight never happened because Jake didn't believe he would make weight, even though he did make weight, but it's fine. And he was going to fight Vitor Belfort, who was a UFC fighter. I believe he'd done bare knuckle as well. So he was going to do boxing. It made sense. It was a pretty decent fight, but Vitor never got it happening. And then the short notice opponent was a guy called Greg Hardy. He'd been in the NBA, I think. Was it NBA? I don't know. But he'd been in the NFL. He'd been in the UFC. He'd done kickboxing. He'd done bare knuckle. Name the sport, Greg Hardy done it. And he walked into boxing, right? And by the way, because it was short notice, he came in 99 pounds heavier than Hasim Ratman Jr. I mean, that is just a big no-no, because it's just, there's a reason there's weight classes in boxing. Like, it's massively unfair. Like, it would mean anything Hasim hit Greg with would have way less of an effect than anything Greg hit Hasim with, and that proved to be the point. I mean, in there, Hasim Ratman was trying to be technical and he was trying to time Greg, but he just couldn't, because Greg was much bigger, had the reach, like, it literally was dwarfing Hasim, and Hasim's a big man and he was dwarfing him. He had the reach, he was sticking out his jab, he's hitting him with heavy shots, and he was being way more aggressive in there because he knew he could bully Hasim around the ring, and that's what he did. And in the way, like, Hasim threw a shot at Greg ate it and then responded to the shot straight away with a straight right, and it just dropped Hasim. It was clean, to be honest. It was a clean drop. But the fact Hasim kept coming back, like, Hasim kept fighting, and once when Hasim was on the ropes and Greg was coming forward, Hasim did time him, caught him with a left hook, and Greg backed off. Greg was hurt, and you heard the crowd go nuts. It was a small crowd as well, and it went nuts. I mean, it was honestly a great fight because it was so back and forth. There was tension. The only problem with it was a mismatch. If this wasn't a mismatch, I'm not talking about records either, I'm talking about if they were on the same weight, the result could have been massively different. And we probably would have had... The fight might not have been that entertaining if it was the same weight. Maybe Hasim would have knocked him out, but Greg got the win. Shame for Hasim because he had to fight a short notice opponent who was 100 pounds bigger. But it was a great fight nonetheless, and honestly, I'd rather watch that than the Dean the Great Waleed because of the excitement, because of the knockdowns, because of the heavy shots, and heavyweights are always more fun to watch anyway. But I gave it a 7 out of 10, so it's the same rating as Dean versus Waleed. Don't get mad, I just think it's a better fight in my opinion. But anyway, that's been it for me ranking Misfits X Series 03. Number 7, Minicon Nick Joseph. Number 6, FaZe Temper over at Floor. Number 5, Josh Bruckner Chase Demore. Number 4, King Kenny DK Money. Number 3, Branding Buckingham Ice Poseidon. Number 2, Dean the Great Waleed Sharks. And number 1, Hasim Ratman Jr. versus Greg Hardy. Thank you all so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Good